Welcome, guys. This is Crypto Polaris. My name is Zia, and this is going to be a cracker show. We're going to talk about the war. We're going to talk about the implications of Israel versus Iran, and then US getting involved. What will that do to the price of Bitcoin? That is on everyone's mind, and it's a scary time, guys. And this is not a political show. This is more of trying to figure out where Bitcoin will be if indeed America gets involved. And a lot of you have been sending me DMs to see if I would give my opinion about this. So this is, again, not a financial advice. This is for educational purposes and, of course, entertainment. I try to make it fun and also see what we can do collectively to help each other. Lots to talk about, guys. And it's very important that we understand what has happened in the history of a lot of these events, geopolitical and financial events that really shook the market, including Bitcoin. And I want to dive into that a little bit. And then really show you what is going on with Bitcoin. Who are all the people that are just buying Bitcoin and why are they buying it? And are they scared about this war? And then show you some technical setup for Bitcoin. Which way is Bitcoin going to go, up or down? And that's very important to take a look at it. And the fear and greed index, we want to look at that. We always look at that to see the sentiment of people. And of course, the sentiment around this whole war between Israel and Iran, and now soon to be America getting involved. How is that going to look upon the price of Bitcoin? And then really give you a refresher of all the catalysts. And I have another video totally dedicated to the catalyst for Bitcoin and what is happening to Bitcoin and where the price is going to go. And I also want to show you what are some of these major players in our space and in investment are predicting for Bitcoin to be in 2030. And of course, then I will share with you my prediction as well. So why don't we get started here? So when in doubt, zoom out. So let's talk about that. Zoom out, guys. It's very important to zoom out. So what I did, I took a liberty of looking at last 2 years of all the major events that brought Bitcoin down by at least 10% over a 1 or 2 or 3 day period. And I found there were 7 major events that took Bitcoin down in a matter of a day or two, at most 3, below 10%. Okay? So let's look at that. And can you imagine in 2 years where the price of Bitcoin was when I started tracking this for the purpose of this particular slide? So from February 2023, sitting at $25,000 to where we had the highest just a few weeks ago at almost $112,000. So we're going to look at in this band the 7 major events that took place. And you can see I've listed them. What are some of the reasons we had these major sell-offs? Obviously, right before 2024, we had the halving. That's every 4 years, Bitcoin inflation gets cut by half. So in anticipation of that, price went up. And then, of course, when it happened, it just dropped. So that's sell on the news type of things. Again, we had another sell on the news, the approval of Bitcoin ETF. That happened sometime in January of 2024. And we had another run up in anticipation of the news, and then they sold off over 10% once the news happened. So that's called sell on the news. And then, of course, we hit all-time high, 73,737, profit taken. Again, we hit 108. That should be 1,000, guys. Sorry about one less zero. 108,000. And then another major profit taking. These are normal stuff. Then, of course, came the Federal Reserve announcement that they are not going to cut rates as many times as we originally thought. Boom, another shock in the system, and Bitcoin and the overall financial industry went down. We had a big hacking on Bybit, over $1 billion some dollars, and the tariff uncertainties collectively brought it down. So that was a big issue for us. More recently now, tariff on Mexico and Canada, when they just hit the news that 25% tariffs are going to happen, that's when another 10% went down. So it's very important to remember that these things happen and Bitcoin has recovered. Look at that. All these 7 things that happened, the Bitcoin went from 25,000 to 112,000. So it is good to be optimistic, and there are many reasons why we are optimistic. So guys, zoom out. That's what I did from February of 2023 to June of 2025. Look at the chart from left to the right. It helps to zoom out and you can see where we're headed. Much higher, I believe. Who owns all the Bitcoins now? 3.44 million out of the 21 million that you can have are owned by all these various entities. And public companies are buying them left and right. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I've got dedicated videos, MicroStrategy being one of them that is buying one of the most. Private companies are buying them. You've got your ETFs. BlackRock is buying them. The BlackRock and MicroStrategy, a publicly traded company, are competing to have the most Bitcoin that's available. And then you got exchanges that are holding Bitcoins and the government that have Bitcoin. So guys, you need to know, and I'm going to show you what these guys are doing. They want our Bitcoin and they are buying aggressively. So here's a slide that shows what these guys are up to. Look at the one in yellow. That's MicroStrategy. He literally started a few years ago, 2 years ago, to start accumulating. Now he has almost 600,000 Bitcoin. Michael Saylor is who I am speaking of, the founder of MicroStrategy, which is now called Strategy, by the way. And of course, the ETFs, which is in green, that you can see the iShare, Bitcoin Trust, then you can see the Fidelity. These are all getting bought up. BlackRock is buying through ETF, 674,000 Bitcoins. And then, of course, and going back to the yellow or orange, I'm a little colorblind. MicroStrategy is at 592,000. You've got other companies that are gobbling it up. One of the biggest one that is coming up is Megaplanet, based in Japan. Their goal is to buy 210,000 Bitcoins ASAP. Okay? And then we have something in pink. You can see all the countries that currently hold Bitcoin and all the other people. So I wanted to give you a glimpse of these are the guys that currently hold 3.44 million Bitcoins. That's more than 1/7 of the total supply of the Bitcoin, guys. And they want more, and they want more. And it is important to see where they're going to get it from. Look at the next slide. See all that gray area? See all that gray area? That gray area where it says 14.985 million BTCs. That's me, you, and all the other public retail that are holding Bitcoin. Look in the bottom, lost coins. 1.5 million Bitcoins are lost. And then we've got coins to be minted, which is 1.1 million. That's going to take us all the way to 2140. Keep in mind, by 2035, 99% of the Bitcoins would have already been mined. Okay, so it's very important to see all these guys in orange, in green, and in blue, and in pink. They want to move to the right and grab our Bitcoin. What do you think is going to happen to the price of Bitcoin, guys? We're not just going to give it to them at $110,000. Are you? I'm not. So these are some of the catalysts. And let me get rid of my banner here. I apologize. So let me go back a little bit, if I may, right here. And so this is what I was looking at, and now this chart right here. So let's push forward, okay? So now you have an idea of what these guys are doing. They're buying these Bitcoins left and right, and they want our Bitcoin. Guys, I want to give you a little bit of technical stuff. I don't do much technical because my audience doesn't want me to do technical. They want me to speak to the fundamentals. But look at this. This is called head and shoulder pattern. It's a technical pattern. It's inverse. So see the middle? That's the head. And the two sides are the shoulders. Okay? So now we're breaking out on the right side of the shoulder. And when it breaks out, it shoots up. It is perfectly set up, guys. What I'm trying to tell you, fundamentally, everyone is buying. They want your Bitcoin. Technically, this is set up to shoot to $150,000 is the next pump. That's what everyone is anticipating. So let's keep going. This is very important. This is the daily measure of the sentiment of people out there. That's why I'm doing this, about the war. People are scared. Usually, it's sitting all the way to the green, over 70, 80. Now, today, it's sitting at 48. People are scared. When people are scared, that is the time I buy. When things go down, that is the time I buy. Not a financial advice, that's when I buy, because I believe in the fundamentals. The fundamentals don't change. These events are always going to happen. These geopolitical events are always going to happen. The end of the world is not happening. For a day or two or maybe a week, the Bitcoin price goes down, and that's when hopefully we both have dry powder where we can go in and buy a little bit more. Okay? So just wanted to show you that. It's important. Let's move on. A reminder, I have a dedicated video on all these catalysts, but I want to remind you that yesterday, the Genius Act was passed by the Senate. The Stable Act is, I believe, passed today or tomorrow by the U.S. House of Representatives, and that is going to be signed into law by sometime end of the year, September or October timeframe. Look at what our Scott Bessent is saying yesterday. He says, very good chance that crypto is actually one of the things that lock in the dollar supremacy. That's Treasury Secretary saying that. We have the full force of the United States government pushing the crypto agenda, of course, including Bitcoin. SEC approval of banks who can now custody Bitcoin. All right? Corporate treasuries, I just showed you, MicroStrategy. All the publicly traded companies are just gobbling up Bitcoins. ETFs are gobbling up Bitcoin. Sovereign Wealth Fund, as an example, Qatar is buying Bitcoin. There are a lot of others who are staying quiet right now, buying, because if they come public, then the price of Bitcoin shoots up. US Strategic Reserve will buy up to 1 million Bitcoin. I have a dedicated video on that. And then, of course, our US states. Texas just passed the measure, and many other states who have passed the measures to buy Bitcoin into their treasuries. What can I tell you? Look at these price predictions by some of these major players. These are household names. By 2030, Cathie Wood says it's going to 2.4 million. Jack Dorsey, the founder of Twitter, says 1 million. Bloomberg, 1 million. Standard Chartered, 1 million. You can read this. Gene Muster, who's always on CNBC, 1 million. Fidelity, 1 million. Tom Lee, 3 million. And of course, Michael Saylor is saying significantly above 1 million by 2030. He actually calls for 13 million by 2045. Okay, so with that, guys, I want to show you what my price prediction is, and I have another video that does that. But my price prediction by 2030 is this. I've taken the annual growth rate. So I said this year is going to grow by 75%, next year 125%, and the next year 100%, then dial it back to 50 and 50%. Now we're looking at getting to 1.8 million. This is not financial advice, guys. This is my calculation, and based on this calculation, I believe by 2030, we're going to be at $1.8 million. So I hope you guys liked this video. Please give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. And I look forward to doing another video tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.